Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We're playing with the Ashes of Malmouth expansion, and today we're finally gonna venture forth into the new content. So our goal is to head towards Gloom Vault. So I figured let's go to the Warden's cellar and then use that to get back to the surface, since there's this nice little rickety ladder. And then from here it's up to us to make our way to wherever we are supposed to be. So we're gonna have a little bit of investigative investigating. Yes, investigating. That's what we're gonna do. Also, these are incredibly low level mobs. They're level 18, so we can just totally ignore them. I wonder if there's going to be something over to the right there, since there was a garden behind the warden's house, and there. No, the road is heading this way. It stands to reason that this might be a good place to go, because it's leading north out of the Burbage estate. So that could be all the way up there, but it could also be up here. There's a thing blocking the road here that kind of makes it difficult. I remember there was a way to get in there. Is there a fence to break, or do we have to use the underground cellars to go there? Okay. Just running around here a little bit just to see exactly how we can get there. We can go there via the houses. If this is not it, then of course it's gonna be on the other side. There's a star there. That seems to suggest I'm right. Oh, wonderful. Actually, right in one go. So the abandoned garden, just one mansion to the right of the warden's mansion, is where you need to be. So let's hit this and go. The ethereals have barred the way north from Burbage, likely to stop anyone attempting to flee the carnage. With Inquisitor Creed pendant, you should be able to dissipate it. Let's purge it. Achievement unlocked. The fight continues. Okay. And these are our level, so that's good. Also, ethereal stuff on the floor. That's just not stand there. And also, just double check, I think I might have disabled some buffs here by having the wrong tab open. Yeah, like that. Wonderful. Also, there is a hero that died here. And while I was too busy getting distracted here, we lost a couple of our minions. That's what I've heard though. The new expansion areas have a lot of ground-based area of effects, lots of poison damage, lots of ether damage. So for pets this might not be the most friendly place to be. So we're gonna do our very best to just make the best of this. And just recast minions all the time. Hello there, Wendigo. We have Wendigo in the totem. Oaktenborg turns. All Cardias the unburied. So because this is all new, let's actually zoom in a little bit just so we can see a little bit more of what's going on and how the new models look. Also gets us a little closer to the action, so that might be fun as well. Especially considering the minions are doing most of the work. So these wretches seem undead human, so they're not zombies of sorts. And there's a rift on the minimap. Just gonna try to do as much of a full clear as possible, just to see if we can discover everything there is to discover. We will end up missing out on some of the specials, but we can always try to find as many as possible. So we leave no marked rocks unturned. So after our last episode, where we ended up defeating the Loghorian, I did go back to the area up here, and I went to the sepulchre, the Black Sepulchre, and tagged the shrine there, and went into the entrance of the Bastion of Chaos before where you need the key to tag another shrine. So we got a couple of more devotion points there. So the bat. Hey, wait. Are you? I think I saw the tentacle. Yeah, see, it's sweeping. Ooh. So we now have the. What I was gonna say, we have the bat completed. So Twin Fangs is now linked to Ray's skeleton. So the skeletons, because there's many skeletons, they will be triggering that one rather often. And it seems to work well so far. While doing that, I picked up a couple of small upgrades. And now with the components, I just reshuffled some things to try and get my resists in as good a shape as possible. And just before I started recording this episode, I actually went out of my way to do some bounties. So Devil's Crossing is now at Honored, and the same for Homestead, that's also at Honored. And that got me access to the augments of those factions. So I've got a couple of the augments here, but most importantly, I've added them in my in the gear that supports them. So a little bit of chaos resistance in my weapon, a little bit of chaos resistance in my offhand. We got some ether resistance in both of the rings, and we got some pet chaos and elemental resistance in the amulet. So that just helps get our resist in a slightly better shape, and now ether and chaos are both in their 70s. So I hope this just helps us prepare for the content that is here. So these are rovers. Let's have a chat with everybody. Beware, traveler. The lands ahead are foul, as they are deadly. The stench of Wendigo is heavy upon the air. Travel safe. Wendigo? The vile spirit taints the heart and corrupts the soul. None who have given in to its allure remain human for long. Okay, so where are you headed? We had thought the way north safer. We're turning back to Whitemire, and so should you. Noted. Okay. So, here be Wendigo. Wulavia. Take heed, traveler. The Wendigo spirit is strong in these parts. Wendigo spirit? It's an ancient spirit of the forest. Once fierce and noble, it has become lost to the darkness. Lost even to Mogdrogen. Now it only seeks to corrupt all it touches. Mogdrogen? He's the patron god of the forest and guardian of the Rowari, our people. I see. Okay, and a salvage dealer to whom we can sell this one. Yeah, it's offhand. It summons pets, tempting, but we have a +1 to all necro skills, which is slightly more tempting. So we'll continue here. Okay, a fork in the road. Let's see if following the road is just gonna weave around here. Okay, Ookdenbog crabs and golems. They're walking trees. Mossflinger. Mossflinger is more like a ground slammer than a moss flinger, because I saw those spikes fly all the way to there. That one's not gonna come alive, it seems. Okay, that's a comfort. Poisonous bloom. Okay, it's almost like a ravenous earth in creature form. Okay, a cave up ahead, or stairs. So let's cross the road and have a look and see what's over there. Oh, we did lose some skeletons in the process. I should be a little more aggressive about putting the totems down, and we lost a minion. Yeah. Poison on the floor is gonna do that to us. We don't really have a lot of poison resistance for our minions yet. Only the 15% from the devotion, the jailer of souls dude. What was it called? Typhos, jailer of souls. That grants us 15% poison resist. And from what I understand, one of the later new factions will have a faction ring to offer that gives poison resistance to minions, but we're not there yet, so that's not really helping us at this moment. So frequent resummonings of skeletons and just trying to keep them healed for a bit is gonna be the name of the game today. Definitely just a lot of stuff that's happening here. Lots of explosions and big enemies. If you're playing just a single character and not a minion monster of sorts, then I imagine this is going to be a lot less difficult to deal with, because, well, you're just one character and by now you probably have your poison resist maxed out already. So it's not going to be all that much of a threat as it is to a build that effectively has the minions are effectively my weapons, and they're being murdered here. Okay, back on the road. Also summon the Stormhound. Okay, okay. This extends a little bit. I just want to double check that. Might be a closed off bit. One of the interesting, but at the same time maybe also slightly annoying things for new content is that you have no idea how everything interconnects. So you don't know what areas you should full clear a side bit and or follow the road. Whereas with the existing content, X1 through 4, I've played it often enough that I know most of the content in the game. So a couple secret places that I'm not entirely sure of, and maybe some dungeons where I maybe get slightly confused, but in general I have a pretty good idea of where to go and where not to go. Ooh, there's 2 people with stars over their heads there. Put down the totem, call the grave. What are you? That's some kind of protector. Oh. Apparently Homestead is happy about this. We got a book. So it's all being new lore. I'll be reading every bit of lore that we collect. Just double checking that there's nothing else to find here. No apparent secrets here. But there's a stairs down. Ah, that's a cellar. Okay. So let's first read it because it might point to something what's down there. Nane's stash. I don't know what he's up to, but twice in the last week I've seen Nane driving a loaded wagon up the North Road past the old mill. Then twice returning with the wagon empty. He must be hiding something up there, and I mean to find out where. If he's made it big, I fully intend to be in on his good fortunes. So, the North Road past the old mill. Presumably, we'll see a mill at some point. But for now, let's see what's in the cellar. It's a decrepit cellar with lots of creepy things down there. And here. Ogdenbog wretches and turned. Okay, if you look at the minimap, the bit below is actually something we can walk over. Oh, hello. They look pretty aggressive here. Ravgarat the Unstoppable. Very, very angry things. Might have been Wendigo. Is it Wendigos or Wendigo? Sounds like you should be saying Wendigo for both one and multiple. Not like one sheep, a dozen sheep. I think Wendigo is probably the same. Okay, nice and shiny. We've got seem to have 4 mages with us, 5 mages with us. Oh wow. It's, effectively the skeletons are now summoning a meteor storm because there's so many mages summoning them. Also, I think I hovered over there, rotting corpse. Huh. Most of the time corpses are actually the best sources of loot. Turns out this one is a little more disappointing. Well, good thing is mages do tend to hang back a little bit more and just summon down death from above, and as long as we can keep them alive, they will make sure enemies are not alive. Carnivorous plants. Poisonous bloom. Bleh. Right, did die and then leave another plant behind. So minimap says there's something here. Would have been a great place to hide something, but I can't see anything. Also, we did cross the road and missed something. Oh, wait. Guess that was it. Waterfalls, always something to double check. Since the hidden cave behind the waterfall cliché sometimes turns out to be true. It's a useful thing to pay attention to. Okay, looks like we have a nice bottleneck here. Just keep putting down the Wendigo totem at the front of the fight. Okay, blow this one up with a dynamite. And this was well worth it. Oh, and a strongbox. How could I have missed that? So there's too many corpses here. Often something like this, no, an altar of sorts, even a half-eaten cow, indicates there might be something pretty gnarly around here. We did lose 3 skeletons somewhere along the lines. Okay, let's just use pet attack to focus things. Yeah. So it turns out enemies don't really do much if I'm not doing much. Which on the one hand I guess would make sense, but it also means they have the self-preservation sense of a brick. As in, they don't really have a sense of self-preservation. Okay. 49, another 3 skill points. So let's max out Wendigo totem. And I figured next up is gonna be the Mog Drogon's Pact. Just to boost our health regen, more importantly the health regen that our pets always have going, as well as the flat bonus to physical damage that they're gonna get, at least when they're close-ish. Because know that flat damage does get boosted by all the bonuses to pet damage. And it's eventually it ought to be a pretty significant source of damage for them. Okay. Yeah, popping out of the floor as a surprise doesn't really work if there's an army here, because then the surprise is on you. Okay, what's up the door? Up the stairs. Okay, another building, and I think I saw a devotion shrine there. Wonderful. So we did skip a bit, so we'll have to do some backtracking here. Okay, but we did clear the entirety of the house, did we? No, we didn't. There's some folks in here. Oh, of course, no, we started outside because it was the cellar that we entered. Okay. Anything hidden over here? Okay, so let's use the road here to backtrack. Crumbling wall. This is actually on the map. Though not all that secret. Hey, there is a mill. So that might tie in with what the lore book said about someone driving here with a wagon, possibly hiding loot. Okay, some banners hanging outside that can't really place. No, I must admit I've never really paid too much attention to the colors and the shapes of the banners in this game. Okay, so from the house past the mill, and the question is the north road the one leading to the northwest or to the northeast? Northeast would tie that to that house. No, together with the one that we actually popped out of the floor from. Other side would also make sense. Especially since the secrets in the game are not always in spots that are exact matches. Sometimes you do have to interpret them in a little more creative way. Ooh, Pakla, the turning. You seem to be angry. Okay, we lost some pets there. Just trying to keep the things up, and there we go. And we get a heroic chest for our efforts. Okay, then there's nothing besides the heroic chest. And we're back on the road. This is a bit more creepy looking as far as forests go. Definitely not a place for a romantic stroll. This is more where you would play hide and seek with mortal enemies. Then you let them hide and you just never go and seek them. Okay, crabs, bunch of crabs, lots of crabs. Crabs have so far been one of the more straightforward ones, along with the more zombie-like things. Since all they do is just melee attack. Okay, poisonous blooms are... Okay, they actively target you and...
I can't do that yet.
Your minions, yeah. So using minion move to send your minions to different places just so they won't get hit might not be a bad idea. And I use the spirit to just attack it. Okay, minions please go. Yeah, this will get annoying pretty quickly. I think this is where a Kabbalist probably has a bit of an edge, unless you've gone for the Morgdorgan's Pact early on. Since you'll have more passive regen at your disposal, as well as just access to an instant heal that you can just give to all your pets. That's definitely very useful when there's really targeted long range AoE happening here. Because these are effectively just plant-based artillery. And yeah, your skeletons are their target markers. Well, actually spend my energy for using the spirit quite a bit, of course. That does make sense. Okay, we got ourselves a right hand of carnage. Level 50 ring, +2 to whirling death. That sounds Nightblade to me. Okay. And there was one more point that we had to spend here. Okay, we've been pushing hard to the north. But there was a detonation site a bit back. Let's actually go there and have a look what exactly this does for us. These rocks look like someone placed them here deliberately. This might be Nate's secret stash. You can clear it out with some heavy explosives. Hey. So this is where we found the house with the book. It said to go north past the mill. This is how far north you have to go to find it. This is very much like the secret stash that is in the bug country. What was it again? Yeah, in the Rotten Croplands. It's also all the way on the west rather than just at the end of the street. So, yeah. Let's see, is there anything else? There's a... Was that something? Is that a... That's not a person, is it? No, that's a horse that's being... I must see if the vines are trying to eat or attack the horse. Doesn't look very healthy. Okay, so that side quest has been completed. I think it's wise to just backtrack a little bit and see what we can do in this area before we push further to the north. Just so we keep covering our bases. Hello there, Heldra, the Bloodlust. That's a Wendigo. That was a Wendigo. No more Wendigo. Wendigon. Okay, and there is another marker. The lost father of Amala, the girl in town. Hello. He simply seems to be sitting underneath a tree. That's innocent looking.
Please, just leave me alone out here.
What? Who are you? Some sort of monster in disguise? Calm down. I'm not going to hurt you. Stay back. I'm a powerful arcanist. I'm not looking for trouble. You must be Garrett's. What? I mean, yes, but how did you know? Your daughter sent me to find you. Amala? Oh, my sweet Amala. She made it to safety then? Yes, she's fine. She's in Devil's Crossing. The prison? Well, as long as it's safe, I guess I can die in peace then. No need to be dramatic. I can get you out of here. No, I cannot bear to look her in the eye. I failed her as a father. I failed to protect her when she needed me. Just leave me here. You won't be any good to her dead. I suppose that's true. Got together this far. Cannot abandon her again. I've been given a second chance. How do you plan on getting me there though? My leg is busted. Like this. There's a rift gate. Okay. So that is a side quest completed it. Ooh. Octombloom. For having such a vibrant colors, it emits a truly rotting stench. So this might be one of the new crafting materials. And let's have a quick look at the blue items we found so far. Since of course, new area, new items. I probably should pay a little bit more attention to what we do get. Rave Knight's Pauldrons. Vitality damage, cold vitality, frostburn and vitality decay. A bit of attack damage converted to health. Ether resistance, that is always nice. And +2 to bone harvest, which is something we use. 20% chance when hits to cast a soul well. Tear open a rift to the beyond, unleashing a well of restless spirits that will tear at any enemy that dares enter it. That sounds pretty cool. 4-second recharge, 6-second duration, 2.5 meter radius. Does a boatload of cold and vitality damage. Okay. Sounds pretty cool. And the ether resistance is something that is always nice to have. So this might be a upgrade for our current one. And then we just need to obtain the elemental resistances in another place. Which is of course where reshuffling your components and now also the augments comes in. So plenty of ways to fix that. This also looks really pretty. What is it? Dark Flame Chest Guard. Bonuses to fire, vitality, burn and vitality decay damage. Fire damage converted to vitality damage. That is interesting. So that would be useful on something like an occultist that now has some a lot of vitality damage and some chaos and some fire damage, and here you can just take some of the fire and move it back to vitality. Chance to avoid projectiles, elemental resistance, +3 to Mark of Torment, that is Necromancer, and +3 to Vindictive Flame, that is Demolitionist. So Demolitionist is also pretty fire based, so interesting. 10% chance when hit to cast a Spirit Ward. Partially enter the spirit realm, warding yourself against life-sapping spells and physical assault. 12-second duration, 24-second recharge, so you can have this up half the time. 20% physical resistance, 30% vitality resistance and +5 maximum vitality resistance. So this is a temporary buff there. Okay, interesting. This is a little bit more niche, I suspect. But I guess there's probably a build that you could make around it. And Right Hand of Carnage, we already had a look at it, I think. Some Whirling Death, and the set gives you 20% bleeding with +100% increased duration. I wonder if you can stack the same one twice, or that you need to have the left and the right hand. I guess there's probably some use for it. Just a quick look at this new offhand. Bound Rave, that I don't remember having seen this. +2 to raise skeletons, +2 to conjure primal spirit, and +1 to pneumatic burst. So I think that just touches primal spirit, that is shaman. The skeletons of Necromancer and pneumatic burst is the Nightblade, and lives for +5 seconds to the conjure primal spirit, which normally lasts for 20 seconds, so then it will end up lasting for 25 seconds. Okay, seems nice. That's effectively 25% more duration. Okay. Yeah, let's just have a look at the middle section and then to the right. Wait, is that a burning? That's one of those root things that seems to be burning. Bit odd. Oaktenborg Bloodsinger. We have some blood-soaked scribblings. So, what's up with the things here? We left Burwich not more than a week ago. There was something wrong with the place, and there were rumours of strange goings-on around that Creek residence. Sir Fraser had this crazy idea that we should leave and head north. He said there was a nice town just up the road. He should know. He lived up there less than a year ago. He said passage would be difficult, but we could make it if we stuck together. He couldn't have been more wrong. We weren't one day out of town when things started going poorly. First, Beatrix came down with a fever. Her skin went pale and her eyes glazed over. That night she started lashing out at us, shaking, vomiting and screaming about some creature out in the woods, staring back at her. The following day, the same thing happened to Heinrich. With both of them sick, we were forced to travel slowly. Fraser and I towed him behind us in a makeshift sled. Too far from Burridge to turn back, but Fraser said he knew of an inn that was less than a day's travel ahead, so we continued onwards. When we reached the inn, it was abandoned and the air hung heavy with the scent of death. But we were desperate and in need of shelter, so we stayed there nonetheless. That night was when the noises started. Fraser said he didn't hear none of it, but I could make it out loud and clear. It sounded like an animal growling and moving about just outside the inn. As the night wore on, the noises became louder and louder, and I began to question my sanity. Fraser insisted that there was nothing, but I could swear they were right outside. When dawn came, I didn't want to move, but Fraser forced me out of the inn. He said we had to continue or we wouldn't make it to safety. So we began pulling the sled north along the overgrown road. As we moved, I could hear it following us, its footsteps mirroring our own. Beatrix and Heinrich were getting sicker by the minute, and we soon grew tired of hauling the sled. My hands were blistered, and my feet bloodied from the rough path. Fraser said we had to leave them. The sled was just too heavy for us to pull, but that didn't sit right with me. We argued back and forth about their fate, each becoming more and more angered as we continued. That was when Fraser grabbed his camp hatchet and threatened to kill them right then and there. He said if I wouldn't let them go, he'd just do it for me. I didn't mean for what happened next, but I was scared, and the growling sound bore down on me like a fire in my mind. I shoved him, and he stomped over a root, falling face first into his hatchet, which lodged itself in the right side of his chest. He looked up at me in horror as blood filled his lungs and mouth. That was when I saw it, standing behind Fraser at the edge of the woods, a massive, hideous figure, like a man, with the head of a dead animal. I froze for a moment, and then bolted down the road. As I ran, I could hear Fraser's gurgling screams begging me not to leave him. I can still hear them, all three of them wailing in the darkness, like rabbits being eaten by a fox. It's been hours. Why won't they die? Is that thing still out there? Is it taunting me? I can't go on. I can't take it anymore. Good old Grim Dawn lore. It's the writings of people in desperate circumstances, doing desperate things, being torn apart by their own survival and the survival of the group. I like that especially in the lore, that they try to address a lot of those themes. Of course, the game being called Grim Dawn means that they're not often looking at the bright side of things, so to say. But hey, it's Grim Dawn. That makes sense. Hello there, Octenbloom. Okay, a desecrated shrine, so that's gonna be a fun encounter. And that's just above the house there. So let's see what we can shake out of this. Okay, Rogue, the Void Touched, and another unique. Sheldrak, the Reflected. And that was it, and ooh, we get ourselves a legendary. That I approve of. So, Black Scourge, level 50. Bonus to chaos damage, health, offensive ability, bonds of Bismial and manipulation. I think that is all occultist. Bonus to pets, all damage, offensive ability, attack speed and chaos resistance. And a 30% chance on enemy death to conjure the Black Scourge. For 8 seconds with a limit of 3. And that pet casts Entropic Ends, which has a 3-meter radius. Does a boatload of chaos damage and reduces enemies' health. So that seems interesting. The more enemies you kill, if you keep killing, then you're gonna get 3 of these things to help you kill even faster. Definitely a very nice find. Another devotion point. So, as I said, grabbed the bat last time. So after the bat, the next is going to be Bismial's Bonds. Because Ratoshi is going to be our goal. We need 1 more red point to complete it. We need 1 more white point and we need 1 more green point. So that's going to be the white starter node, the red starter node, and then we need a green one. But we already have the green starter. So I figured, pick up Bismial's Bonds. At that point you can refund the crossroads and put it into the red or the white one, and then the next point afterwards completes it so we can move over to Ratosh. But for now, Bismial's Bonds it is. Okay. Just a little bit of double checking, but I think we've actually explored everything there was to explore here. Yeah. So then there's going to be a room over here, and then we've caught up. Would be nice if we could touch another waypoint. So we got the first one, we got a waypoint. If you look at the positioning, it suggests that we might be pretty close to the next waypoint. So let's see if we actually can get our sights on it. Because I do like to just play from one marker to another marker rather than just stopping somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Okay, something came running in and looks pretty frenzied. That's a marrow eater. And here's a time warped. Okay, that might have had something to do with it.
That skill's not ready.
In time warped sound like making its bodies move around faster would be part of its job description. Okay. Okay, so it looked like we've done most of the side areas. Ooh, there's a little bit more shaded down there, so let's backtrack there. Now, when I said I want to do as much of a full clear as I can, I really did mean it. Because new content means we have to see just exactly everything there is to see. And we're probably gonna miss most of the secrets anyway. But no, I do like to try. Okay. Okay. Yeah, see, lost another 2 skeletons here against the artillery. Oi, stop hitting me and my pets. See, plant root. Okay. This seems more well, like the actual bend that we also saw on the larger map. Right. Something that's there. Ornate strongbox, hidden beneath the plant. Sneaky, sneaky bugger. Okay, Okay, just trying to keep it close to the totem, but the totem is not really triggering on the plants. That's unfortunate. Also, there is a stairs down there and a waypoint. Okay, cool. So that waypoint is going to be the goal for the episodes. Let's tag the waypoint and then go back and see what's down the stairs, just to have done it. Okay, so yeah, that's about 1/3 in. I mean, this is effectively the entrance into the Gloom Vault. This is the first real marker, and then there's 1, 2, 3 more in this bit. And then of course after that we have Malmouth. So then this is probably going to be a dead end. Oh no, wait, this is the way forward. That is a dead end. And then let's see what's in the cellar. Then we can go back to town, have a chat with folks there to resolve the lost father arc. I suspect he's the new seer in town because now the one did get killed. I wonder why they killed the seer and then have it be replaced by another one. It might have been maybe something with a voice actor that's not reachable or something, so a way to just write the voice actor out of the plot without retroactively changing everything.
Not ready.
Could be. Okay, another box. And again that flag. Like a triangle. Then with like a claw mark through it with the 3 parallel lines. And a corpse. I must say, so far, early on we did lose some of the minions, and every once in a while when we encounter the plants, minions don't survive as well as they might in other places, but it's not that bad yet. Whoa, you are a bit more scary than others. Average marrow will.
I can't do that yet.
Okay, also do you have some form of health recovery? Because I think we did do some damage to you. What the heck happened there? That went really quickly from full health to quite a bit less than full health. Oh, as long as we are here, might as well have a chat with the father, or the daughter in this case.
I am relieved that my father made it safely.
He was a bit shaken up, but still alive.
We were never close, but he's the only family I got left. I don't know how to thank you. Oh, perhaps this. Here, take this potion. My father and I took sips from it along our journey to keep up our strength. I'm sure you'll find it useful.
So this is a tonic of reshaping. This allows you to reset your attribute points, which is something that was not possible in the base game. It's one of the things that allows you to more fully respec a character compared to before. So that is a very nice quality of life thing. I wonder if this is the only one that you can ever get, or if they will drop in maybe the new content or somewhere after, or maybe if they become craftable. That would be useful. Can I ask you some questions? Oh, sure. What would you like to know? What can you tell me about Malmouth? It's where I grew up. Really, it was the only home I've ever known. The day it all started, my mom never came home from the market. Father was the only other family I had in the city, so I sought him out to look for her. But when the whole city erupted into chaos, we knew that she wasn't ever coming home. Most everyone was butchered in the first conflicts. Some of us gathered in the sewers in hopes of fighting back, but it was all futile. The ethereals let us think that we stood a chance. In truth, they were just harvesting us for their grotesque creations. A group of us had enough of the horrors, so we made a plan to escape. Only I made it to Devil's Crossing. Okay, another one. Anything you could tell me about ethereals over in Malmouth? At first, it was much like here, the dead rising with that eerie ether glow. But then the mutations started rising from the depths of the city, each more grotesque and twisted than the last. It's as if they were experimenting on the bodies of the fallen. But remains of one of their latest creations awaits here. Yeah, I think that was the big zombie that we saw on the square outside. Anything I should know about the road up to Malmouth? The ether fire was spreading rapidly, so I'm not sure there even is a way up to Malmouth anymore. But before you worry about endless fields of fire, you have to make it through the wilderness of Gloomwald and Uchtenborg. And that's not much better. The mushrooms there are toxic. Some even release caustic spores when you get near. The animals are ruthless, but the cannibals. Knowing that they were once people makes it so much worse. I never thought I'd have to kill people. I still feel their blood on my hands. It doesn't get easier.
Thank you for finding my...
Anything else? How did you make it all the way to Devil's Crossing? Because it's quite a long journey. I didn't start out on my own. We were part of a group that slipped through the ethereal defenses in Malmouth. Most of us didn't make it very far due to the ether fire. I had to leave my father behind in Gloom Vault. I was beginning to lose hope. Then I stumbled upon this place. She seems quite resourceful indeed. Garrett Torvin.
This place is like a dream I can't quite shake off.
It's a shame that our nightmares in Malmouth have reached even here. So why did you ask your daughter to go ahead alone? We were attacked by those... things. I froze up. Amala saved me. But not before one of the wretches tore up my leg. I told her to keep going, to find safety on her own. I could have probably hobbled along, but truth is, I've had enough of these horrors. I just wanted to curl up and die. In my cowardice, I left my daughter at the mercy of nature. Well, she seems quite capable. I do not know where she gets it. From her mother, perhaps. She was the adventurous one, before the ethereals took her from us. I'm sorry.
This place is like a dream I can't quite shake off.
Anything else you can tell me about Malmouth? Malmouth was once a prosperous city, a true gem in the east. I made a modest living working in the docks, but I was just days away from making a big trade that would have made me rich. I would have bought a home in Crown Hill and brought Amelia and her mother with me. Of course, that's all gone now, destroyed or infested with ethereal monstrosities. That thing that attacked Devil's Crossing. That's just their latest aberration, a melding of flesh and steel. Malmouth has become a factory of nightmares. Oh, good to know. Okay, so my assumption that he would replace the seer apparently was incorrect, since he's just another mouth to feed that's not really doing much here. Good thing is, I did tag the waypoint before we went down. So we do have a debt to settle. I'm curious in the replay. What exactly was the sequence of things that killed me? Because I swear I went down from pretty much full life to empty life in way too little seconds. So what went wrong here? Okay, now we just managed to get you. So I did see some poison clouds on the floor, but I'm not quite sure if that was the cause of my my death or just something that just happened to coincide with it. It's also, though, going through new content, there's a reason I don't play this on the hardcore, and that is I don't know the fights, I don't know the things that are dangerous, I don't know the moves that get used by the enemies. So, no, I'd rather go through and have the room to to die in order to discover how some of the fights work, how some of the enemies work. Okay, this seems to be a secret. Where is the entrance? Oh, it's not even a secret, this is just the inner room. All done looting. So anything else in here that looks new? Tonic of reshaping. We'll just hang on to that one for a while. Impervious Wendigo gaze of the badger. So Wendigo gaze seems to be like a new metal type. +3 to emboldening presence and 10% attack speed to briar thorn. That could be interesting. Pierce and fire resistance aren't bad either. Now, of course, currently we got ether and chaos resistance, which are a little bit more difficult to obtain than pierce and fire, and that's a little bit more valuable, I would say. Octenborg Venom Launcher. It's a gun with some poison damage. Deadly aim, Blood of Dreek, damage modified by 8% to deadly aim. Cool, especially if you dual wield those. See, Black Scourge we had a look at. Octenborg Spark Thrower. It's a bit like a shotgun. Plus 40% crit damage to Primal Strike and +3 to Primal Strike. That is Shaman. Stormbox of Elgoloth is Inquisitor. And physical conversion to lightning and fire. That's definitely good for a two-handed shaman. Or a gun shaman. Octenborg Bile Launcher. That has some acid damage conversion. +3 to Word of Renewal. I think that's Inquisitor. Lethal Assault, that sounds like the Nightblade. -4 seconds skill recharge to Amaryssa's Blade Purse, that is Nightblade, I know for sure. Raider Greaves. It's not bad actually with all the resists. Gilded Vestments. A Living Ring. Cool. Mental damage, some regen, attack speed, vitality resistance, bleeding resistance. It's quite a lot of resistance on a single ring. And of course, no, we're getting into higher levels, so we also gonna get access to higher tier gear with more resistance points on them. Another one of the Wendigo gaze things, Spark Thrower, and the Bound Rave we saw before. Okay. No new crafting materials. I think there's a couple of crafting materials, but I did see people complaining. Of course, people always complain, right? That the new things were pretty difficult to craft, pretty expensive to craft. So, yeah, we'll see. Could be that the new crafting materials are blueprint only, and that you need to get a certain standing with new factions. Would be very possible. But for now, I think the Gloomwald Crossing Rift waypoint is a very nice place to call this just before we hit the 1 hour mark. So we managed to enter the Gloomwald and made some pretty nice progress through it. So I hope you enjoyed the first look at the new content and a very extensive look at just everything there is to see here in the Gloomwald. And I hope you'll join me again next time when we go to the next part of the expansion. Bye bye.